when you talk about St. Luke, immediately go to Luke 4. And I was sitting there and I remember Nancy sent me the scriptures for this series. But I have a serious problem. When I read a text message, it isn't long. If I didn't write it down, I forgot what it said. And so I wrestled and the Lord sent me to this passage of scripture. Unbeknownst to me, the Lord was using Nancy to send it to me in the first place. I want to look for just a moment at 2 Timothy chapter 4, one sentence, verse 11. Only Luke is with me. Only Luke is with me. Several years ago, I developed an illness. My wife carried me to the doctor. They immediately hospitalized me. I stayed in there about 5 or 6 days, and I was seeing doctors, different doctors, all during the day. Didn't look like I was getting any better, and my general practitioner was not talking about sending me home anytime soon. And to be truthful with you, I was praying, but I got a little worried. And then all of a sudden, on Friday, all of the doctors showed up at the same time. First time I'd seen them all together. And then as the doctors started talking, they were looking at each other, trying to figure out what was going on. And one of the physicians looked at all of the rest of them and said, "We haven't prayed about this matter." And suddenly, I got some joy, still a little worried. But when the doctors started talking about prayer, it's a little worrisome, but then, there's some hope. They got together and decided to send me home that afternoon. They said, he isn't getting better here. Maybe the place where we have him is not good. So let's see if a change of environment will help him. So they sent me home, and sure enough, I got better. There was an occasion when I went to the doctor one day for my quarterly examination. They had done all of this work, taking all of these x-rays. And they had the x-rays up, the doctor had the x-rays up on the screen, and he was looking at them. And being inquisitive as I am, if you don't know me, I'll ask what you're about, even if it ain't my business. And I said to the doctor, "Doctor, what's that?" He said, "That's your heart." I said, "And what's that?" He said, "Those are your lungs." "And what's that?" He said, "That's your liver. And that's your kidney." That's your stomach. Those are your intestines. And I said, "Oh, doctor, show me my soul on that." The doctor looked at me and said, "Reverend, I'll have to come to you about that." I want to suggest to you today that doctors are extremely important. One of the problems we have in our community is that we have not yet persuaded African American males that it's all right to go to the doctor. Because we are macho. We are he-men. And we don't need a doctor to tell us when, Not only do we not be doctors, sometimes we're driving along and our wives say turn right here and we decide to turn left and then we've got to backtrack. That's just the thing about us. But here, Paul says to us, only Luke is with me. One may imagine that Luke's fidelity meant all the more to Paul in view of the fact that many and all of those he had labored with before had deserted him, left him, some for personal gain, others because it just didn't look like there was going to be a result. They did not think that they were going to accomplish what they thought in their minds they were going to accomplish. We're not going to turn the world upside down as Jesus had promised. So we'll go back to doing our own thing. We'll go back to getting our glory. But Paul, in writing to the Colossians in chapter 4, verse 14, had already referred to Luke as the beloved physician. That there is a relationship between us that transcends all that we would have ordinarily thought. In Philemon, some say Philemon, he is bracketed with others as my fellow workers. Luke was present in the carrying out of the gospel. Here was a many-sided man. The author of the gospel, which is distinguished by its humanitarian interest, a practitioner of medicine who may have joined Paul on his second missionary journey as his personal physician, an ardent Christian who shared the evangelistic efforts and labors of his chief, a traveler who told in the first person the story of Paul's most hazardous journeys, a man of dignity at home in his own Greek world and at home also in the Jewish world to which Paul, here was a man of many faces. He was a man of many services. He was a man who perhaps could have made some wealth for himself. But Paul says, as he writes to Timothy, only Luke is with me. He is the shining illustration of the variety of gifts which can be used in the Christian cause when dedicated to that service. One of the problems that I've faced over the years is that many people don't want to really get involved in the service of Christ because they say, I don't really have any talent. I want to suggest, as I say to them over and over, you don't have to be a star to be in God's program. Amen. You can just be a good servant. That's why we used to sing the song, if I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or a song, if I can show somebody that he's traveling wrong, then my living shall not have been in vain. It does not matter that my name is not on the marquee. Can I have peace within myself, just knowing that I tried to do my best? Can I somehow know that if I can just help one person to come to grips with your purpose for being here, that you have achieved something? Preach, Middlebrook. I might not be a minister of the gospel. I might not be a pastor taking care of souls. I do not know what else I would rather be, he says, than to be a physician, skilled to minister at bedsides, skilled to be there in the chambers of the sick, looking to help somebody. And I want to suggest to you that in 2018, this nation needs a healing. Yes. Amen. So, I don't want to blame 45. That was a seething undercurrent that's been going on for several years that divides us. And merely what is happening now is we are seeing the manifestation of that seething undercurrent coming to light. And it's causing us to suddenly discover who we really have been. But I want to suggest to you that Christ says to us who we can be. We can be more than what we are now. We don't have to be at each other's throats. We don't have to be. Don't forget now, many of the same people who are against the Me Too movement were also against the Civil Rights movement. It's a deep-seated, and we need a physician. We need a healer. We need a word from the Lord that says to us, come together. Maybe that's what the old spiritual was saying when they said, walk together, children, don't you get weary. Walk together, children, walk together, children, don't you get weary. There's a great camp meeting in the promised land. We can only realize that greatness when we come together. When we call on the healer to help us through our crisis. Needed psychological healing. Needed spiritual healing. Needed activity healing. What are you talking about, Middlebrook? I want to suggest to St. Luke that in the community where you are, there are people who have psychological problems. That they're not insane. They're just pressed by every weight. That when it looks like you're about to rise, something else comes along to push you back down. And there's nobody there that says to you, yes, you can. Yes, you are. I discovered in 45 years of pastoring that I go to talk to people or people come to talk to me. And I've discovered that many of them are not looking for me to give them an answer. They just want somebody to vent their frustration with. The late Reverend R.E. James, who pastored Mount Zion for a number of years, said that there was a lady in the church, and no matter what issue came up, she was against it. So he went to her one day and said, my dear, why are you antagonistic? Why are you against everything? She said, Pastor, I'm not really against everything. She says, I go to the beauty shop and I spend 2 hours at the beauty shop. I go get my nails done. I go buy an expensive dress, expensive shoes and bag to match. I get up on Sunday morning and I spend an hour, half hour, putting on my makeup. And I leave home. There's nobody at home to tell me that I look good and nobody at the church to say I look good. And so I just raise hell so somebody will say. exist. We need a spiritual healing. We need to say to ourselves again that there is a reality in serving a true and a living God. That serving not a crutch, but it is an empowering factor. It is an opportunity for me to realize that I am a part of his service. And that I am not forgotten. And finally, we need an active people. We need to get folk active again. Yeah. Perhaps the TV has helped to create part of that problem. But maybe if we could get folk back in their neighborhoods, get folk back talking to each other. A little history and I'm going to my seat. The 1950s, there was a bus boycott started when Rosa Parks was arrested in Montgomery. The ministers were called in to take the leadership. And the man that they really chose to be the leader was Ralph David Abernathy. Yes. Ralph was the senior pastor of the city. He pastored the First Baptist Church. But Ralph said, I'm really not the person. As a young man who has come to town, he has his PhD. His dad is well known. He is articulate. He has studied nonviolence. And he would be a better spokesman. And so Martin King was chosen on Ralph Abernathy's suggestion. But for the remaining years of SCLC, everywhere Martin went, Ralph was there. However, I remember many of the times when the going got really tough in Ralph's country way from Demopolis, Alabama. He would say, Martin, we can make it. And when Martin was shot, it was Ralph who held Martin in his arms. And their eyes hooked to each other as if they were communicating. I fought a good fight. I finished my course. And when the rest of us thought that we would give up, it was Ralph who came in and said, behold, the dreamer coming. Come, let us slay him. And say some evil beast hath devoured. And we shall see what will become of his dream. I want to suggest to you that Ralph for Martin was the Luke for Paul. The hero. I can't take away all of your illnesses. I can't take away all of your problems. I can't solve every one of your situations. But I can tell you there's hope for the hopeless. There's joy for the sad. There's deliverance for the lost. And so get up from your safe place. Get up from your comfort be challenged to know that if we help one person as we pass along, be careful, Middlebrook, you're supposed to if we can share with just one person, if we can take one child and help that child to know that you can be better, if we can expand Medicaid, yes, so that everybody gets an opportunity for help, if we can make an educational system better. And let me suggest to you that it's true that every child is not going to college, but it is also true that every child does not need to be taught a vocational training. That's right. If we can help our nation to understand that we must vote our conscience, yes, amen, yes, and our commitment. And it might look like the whole world has left us alone. Somebody in history will write down, there came a people who did not leave me alone. Amen.
Please stand with me and turn to page 358 of the Book of Common Prayer.